Hello everyone. In the last video, we have seen one property of symmetric kernel, that is, if kernel kx comma t is symmetric, then all its iterated kernels are also symmetric. Now let us look at the second property. Eigenvalues of a symmetric kernel are real. Okay. So let lambda be an eigenvalue of a symmetric kernel, and let phi of s be the corresponding eigen function. Okay, we have already seen that once we get the eigenvalue corresponding to that whatever solution we get of the homogeneous equation, that solution is called as the eigen function corresponding to that particular value of lambda. Okay, and remember that always when we are talking about these eigenvalues and eigenfunctions, we find them with respect to the homogeneous integral equation. So let lambda be the eigenvalue and phi of s be the corresponding eigenfunction. That means what? This phi of s is a solution of this integral equation, this lambda integral k x comma, okay, we'll use s comma t phi of t dt. So when do we say that phi of s is a eigenfunction? It is a eigenfunction means it is a solution, non-zero solution of the equation, which is this equation, homogeneous equation. So, and we have already seen that this operator we are calling it as k phi. Okay, this I have described in the last video that we may use this terminology for this particular term. Okay, that means this operator k phi. So this we can write it as phi minus k phi into this lambda. Okay, so this I can take it on the other side and it will be phi minus lambda times k phi. This will be equal to 0. Now we will multiply this equation by phi star of s, that means the conjugate. So let me multiply it here and integrate it with respect to s. So multiply by phi star of s and integrate with respect to s. So after doing this we get integrating with respect to s. So it is lambda but now this we, by using the property of complex, we can write it as this square ds, that is equal to lambda times integral phi star of s integral k s comma t phi of t dt ds. Now if you observe this carefully on the RHS, it is this term into conjugate of phi of s. Okay, so we can call this as inner product of this, and what is this? This is nothing but k phi with phi. Okay, so this RHS I can write it as inner product of K phi with phi, because what is inner product of K phi with phi? It is integral of this K phi into complex conjugate of this phi, which is nothing but phi star of S. Okay, so it is this, and on the LHS what we have is, this is nothing but norm of phi the whole square. Okay, so that tells us that lambda is equal to norm phi square by inner product of K phi with phi. Okay, now it is very clear that this term, it will be a constant term and it will be greater than 0. Yes, not I cannot claim that it's greater than 0, but yes, definitely this term will be a real quantity, because if you see here, this is nothing but this. Okay, so this is whatever the complex term is, its mod of that, this whole square. So this will be a real number, and then with the limits we can ensure that this quantity is a real one. Now in order to show that, see what we want to prove, we want to prove that eigenvalues of a symmetric kernel are real. So if I want to claim that this lambda is real, I will have to check if this one is real. Okay, so to show that this is real, we will have to look at some of the facts. Like in the last video we have already seen that K phi comma xi, okay, inner product of K phi with xi, there is some relationship between this inner product, between this operator and its adjoint operator, and that relationship is nothing but K phi, inner product of K phi xi is equal to phi K star xi. Okay, wherein this K star is, K phi is nothing but integral from K s comma t phi of t dt, and K star xi is integral K t comma s star, okay, xi of t dt. So it is this operator. This K star t comma s, sometimes we also write it as K t comma s bar. Okay, so K star xi is nothing but this. Now suppose I replace this xi by phi, then what will happen? I will get K phi of phi will be equal to phi K star phi. Okay, so in this case it will become phi here. But what is K star phi? K star phi is this, and we know that Kx comma t is a symmetric kernel. Okay, we have taken the symmetric kernel. So K star t comma s, I can write this as Ks comma t. Okay, so this equation will become integral K s comma t phi of t dt, and this is nothing but K of phi. So if Kx comma t, Ks comma t is a symmetric kernel, then this K star phi becomes equal to K of phi. So therefore this is equal to phi comma K of phi. So hence we got that this is equal to this. Okay, then we will have to observe one more thing, that is, by the inner product property, phi comma K phi, inner product of two functions, this is equal to, by the standard inner product property, this is equal to what? K phi comma, meaning this first then this, the whole conjugate. Okay, by inner product property this is equal to this. But we have already seen that this is nothing but this. Okay, that is phi comma k phi is k phi comma phi. Okay, now what does this equation tells us? It tells us that this is equal to its conjugate. So in other words, a number is equal to its conjugate. So what does that tell us? It tells us that that number, whatever it is a real one. Okay, it's a real number, and hence we prove that this k phi comma phi is real, and this is already a real. That tells us that this full quantity, which is equal to lambda, is a real number, and hence the proof, that is, eigenvalues of a symmetric kernel are real. Now let us look at the third property, that is, eigenfunctions of symmetric kernel corresponding to different eigenvalues are orthogonal. Okay, so suppose we have one symmetric kernel kx comma t, or maybe I may use this terminology ks comma t. Okay, so if this is a symmetric kernel, then corresponding to that we will have some eigenvalues. So let us say lambda 1 and lambda 2 are the two distinct eigenvalues corresponding to this. Once we get the eigenvalues, we will get the corresponding eigenfunctions also. So corresponding to this, we will get one eigenfunction. Corresponding to this, we will get the other eigenfunction. We want to show that those two eigenfunctions are orthogonal. Orthogonal means what? In this context, orthogonal means we will have to show that integral of one eigenfunction. Suppose corresponding to this, the eigenfunction is phi. Okay, and corresponding to this, the eigenfunction is xi. Then we will have to show this into xi star integration with respect to ds phi of s xi star of s is equal to 0. So basically what I am showing here is inner product of phi and xi is equal to 0, and therefore we show that the two eigenfunctions are orthogonal to each other. Okay, so to start with, let lambda 1 and lambda 2 be the two different eigenvalues of a symmetric kernel ks comma t, and let phi 1 of s and phi 2 of s be the corresponding eigenfunctions. Okay, now once we say that phi 1 of s and phi 2 of s are the corresponding eigenfunctions for these lambda values, then I can very well write these equations. Phi 1 of s is equal to lambda 1 integral k s comma t phi 1 t dt. Okay, it is a eigenfunction, means it is a solution of this homogeneous equation. Okay, similarly phi 2 of s is equal to lambda 2 integral k s comma t phi 2 of t dt. Now for the second equation, let us take the conjugate on both the sides. So what we will get is phi 2 of s conjugate, or we can also write it as star lambda 2 conjugate into this conjugate, but lambda 2 conjugate will be equal to lambda 2. The reason is, just now we have proved the property that if ks comma t is a symmetric kernel, then whatever are its eigenvalues, they will be real. So the value and its conjugate will be the same. So I will write it as lambda 2 only, and this will be integral k s comma t phi 2 t conjugate dt. Okay, now actually it is conjugate of this and the conjugate of this. Now this full conjugate I am writing it as integral ks comma t conjugate phi 2t conjugate dt. Now what is the reasoning of writing from here to here, that is this full conjugate is equal to this. Now you can think of this as like this. We had this term with us, integral ks comma t phi of t dt, its conjugate. Okay, so its conjugate, when I am saying, if you consider inside term which is below the integral as a inner product of this term and this term, okay, it's the inner product of this term and this term, means what is the definition of inner product? Suppose fg, then how we have defined inner product? It is integral of this function as it is into complex conjugate of the second function. Okay, so I will have to somehow identify how I can write it. I write this as one function into the complex conjugate of the other function. So if you observe here, this term I can write it as phi star of t conjugate of this. Okay, so it will be this term into conjugate of this term. Okay, so it will be like inner product of this k and this phi star. Okay, because star is what? Nothing but phi of t. So this full conjugate, that is what we have. Now by using the inner product property, what is this equal to? It is nothing but this comma this k. And how do we write this inner product? This inner product is nothing but phi star as it is. Okay, so that is, in this case it was phi 2 of t, no? So that will be phi 2 of t star comma complex conjugate of this term. Complex conjugate of this term will be what? Bar, or I can say star also. Okay, I am sometimes using bar or sometimes the star, the meaning is same. Okay, so ks comma t star, integration is with respect to t and the integral of that. So what is this? This is nothing but kst star into phi 2t star, which is nothing but this kst star, instead of star there is bar here, phi 2 of t bar. That means this is equal to this. Okay, so it is not very easy to see why this full bar is directly equal to, why I can shift that conjugate inside for these functions. There is a slight working out here, and then only you can say that this full conjugate will be equal to this. So now we have this equation and this equation. We'll multiply this equation by lambda 1 and phi 1 of s. Lambda 1 and phi 1 of s. Okay. So that will be, yes, and phi 1 of s, and I will multiply this equation by lambda 2 and phi 2 of s conjugate. Here phi 2 of s conjugate. Okay, so now how these two equations will look like? It will be like this one will be, and then integrate it with respect to s. So this equation will be integral of phi 2, I think better to use bar only here because I have using, so it is conjugate. Okay, so this will be phi 2 of s bar into phi 1 of s ds will be equal to lambda 1 into lambda 2 integral phi 2 of s ds, and inside this it is integral k s comma t phi 1 of t dt, and this equation will look like integral lambda 1 integral phi 1 of s phi 2 of s bar equal to lambda 1 into lambda 2 integral of phi 1 of s integral of this. So k s comma t bar phi 2 of t bar dt, and then it is ds. Okay, now we subtract this equation from this equation, so this minus this equation. So on the LHS what we will get? This term minus this term, which will be lambda 2 minus lambda 1, that we can take common because this is same, into integral from phi 1 of s phi 2 of s bar ds is equal to, on the RHS what we will get? This minus this. Again here lambda 1 into lambda 2 is the common term, so we will get lambda 1 into lambda 2 into this minus this. Okay, so this is nothing but integral phi 2 of s bar into this. But if you see, what is this? ks comma t phi t dt. This is nothing but phi 1 of s, because we had written it here. See, phi 1 of s is equal to lambda 1 okay, we need not take that fact into consideration. We'll write it as it is, phi 2 of s integral k s comma t phi 1 t dt ds. Okay, minus, now when I am writing this, it is nothing but integral of phi 1 of s integral k s t bar. But because KST is a symmetric kernel, KS comma T bar will be nothing but K T comma S and phi 2 of T bar dt ds. Okay. Now if you observe, this expression and this expression both are the same ones, because suppose if I write this outside here, then what it will become? Phi 2 of t bar, and inside the integral what it will be? Integral k t comma s phi 1 of s ds dt. Okay, now in this expression I am writing t as s and s as t. Okay, so what will happen? Suppose if I write this as s and this as t as s, s as t. So this is t, this is t, and this is s. Okay, now you can clearly see that these two expressions, they are the same ones. So this minus this is 0, lambda 1 into lambda 2 into 0. So RHS becomes 0. Okay, only the thing here to observe is, it is this expression minus I have taken this. Okay, but this I can very well write it in this form, and hence RHS becomes 0, and on the LHS what we have? Lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into this particular term. Okay, now lambda 1 and lambda 2 are the two distinct real numbers, so lambda 2 minus lambda 1 is not equal to 0, and this into this is equal to 0, so that tells us that this term is equal to 0. That means the inner product of phi 1 and phi 2 is equal to 0, and hence we have proved that the two eigenfunctions phi 1 and phi 2 are orthogonal.